before that there wasn't an industry prize here at Griffith, and it's offered twice a year, and it's $2,010 cash, and it's judged and assessed independently from your course, which is quite important. So you'll get your grades for the course in whatever you achieve. Myself and the other people which will judge, which will be our Chief Technology Officer most likely, probably someone from local government or state government, and probably Michael Blumenstein, who's here at the university but not directly connected with the course. We won't know the projects that you're undertaking, we won't have seen it. The first time we will see or have any knowledge of anything is the day that we sit and are presented with the final three that the people like Peter that run the course present to us. The winner of our prize then goes on to, which is an initiative that Peter started, which is fantastic, basically represent the university at the Queensland Awards in the undergraduate category to compete as the best undergraduate innovator in Queensland. And of course, if you win that, you then go on to the national awards, and then there's an Asia Pacific awards. So from a commercial and industry perspective, we're interested mostly in that to determine that you ended up with a quality product and how you went about it and things like that. We probably don't want to hear too much about errors or mistakes, unless it's a nice little anecdote or something like that. I wouldn't focus on too much of that. We want to see the end result of your work, and the only reason we're interested in how you went about it is if that's going to affect our opinion of the end result. So, and delivery to plan might be an example. And in fact, last semester's presenters were all very, very strong on that, and I was really pleased to see that. Many years ago, I won the prize at my university. Exact same course, well, similar course, industry project, and at that time we did an electronic diary, which was a rare thing back then. And it was a great reward for hard work, because we put in a lot of work like you guys are going to do, and it did become the most valuable item on my degree. No one ever asked for my grades, because I always said I won the prize, and they were like, oh great, okay. And it was something that remained relevant today. So the fact that you have a degree at the end will remain relevant, but in years' time people won't look at your grades, they'll look at your experience, but the fact that you won an industry prize will remain relevant forever. And it's different to an academic prize, and whether you win or lose, it's good that all of you have a course that is associated with industry. Is good that Griffith's doing this and that has an industry prize with it, gives it all credibility.
There's a whole new methodology to launching a startup too. So previously when you launched a business, you'd run away, do a business plan, do what we call waterfall development. So you'd go into this like hidden room, build your product, and then maybe a year later take it to your customers and find out it's not actually what they want. So we flipped that whole process around. So there's a whole movement called Lean Startup, you've probably heard of it. But day one, actually get out of the building and talk to customers. See if this is something that people actually want. Then when you start taking orders, then maybe go and actually build something. So it's all about moving very fast and pivoting and being very quick on your feet. We're a not-for-profit. We're all volunteer-based. So everyone that works at Silicon Lakes is actually a volunteer. So our mentors, Clarence, who's our entrepreneur in residence, all the staff, everyone actually volunteers their time. We're privately funded, so myself and one of the other directors actually funded it. We do get some sponsorship now out of council and a couple of corporates who help us run some events. But on the whole, we actually are self-sufficient. Incubators and accelerators focus on a particular idea. So you go in with an idea, you go through that incubator or accelerator program, they help you. But if the idea fails, you're sort of left on your own. And what we realised was we need to bring the attention back to the actual founders. Like, let's help the entrepreneurs. Because in reality, it's usually 3 or 4 goes at a startup before you actually hit one that's successful. So we want to make sure that the longer term view, like we look after you and make sure when you fail, you get up again and go on to your next idea. A couple of things touching on Clarence's point, like we just got back from almost a month in Silicon Valley, and a lot of that technology now is getting really close. There's a lot of startups working in those spaces, but one thing I noticed really different about the tone of startups this year when we went over is they're talking about like entrepreneurship being a real democracy enabler. So really, you know, a couple of those points Clarence touched on, really start thinking about the impact you're going to have on people. So lots of people walk into our incubator and they talk about, I want to make $1 million. The way I'd encourage you to actually think about it is, how many lives are you actually going to impact? How are you going to actually change the world? If you phrase it that way, if you have a positive impact on 1 billion people, I guarantee you'll be able to commercialise that in some way. The money will follow. But just change your thinking about the problem that you're trying to solve. So what do? Basically, we have a co-working space. So in there, startups can actually pay to have a desk. They get their 24/7 access to a building, a desk, permanent desk, locker, all that sort of stuff, free Wi-Fi, Coke in the fridge, you know. Then we bring in mentors. So we have people like Clarence and about 80 other mentors we draw on, who come in and give advice to the startups at particular times when they need it. We also run a lot of events, so we're big fans of experience-based learning. So we don't do much classroom stuff like this. We actually get students out into the real world and actually get them making mistakes and failing and getting up again. So one of our big flagship events is an event called Startup Weekend. So Startup Weekend is all about coming on a Friday night and pitch an idea. So it's an open mic, 60-second pitch, anyone can pitch anything. And then the audience votes and they form teams. And those teams then have until Sunday night to actually build a business. So typically at these events, we might get 140 people come through the door, age range from 8 to 88, and teams have actually come away with revenue and a live product by the end on a Sunday night. The other thing we do, so twice a year we take trade missions over to Silicon Valley. So we just got back from a recent trip over there. We took 8 local startups, and there are another 6 Aussie startups that are on the ground that sort of tagged along as well. We also took over a local member of council, Glenn Tozer from Madrigal. And what the trip is all about, it's really about getting out and actually seeing how startups operate over there, getting immersed in the culture and starting to build a network on the ground. So as Clarence hinted before, the capital market is a bit more accessible in the US, there's a lot more funding, but there's also a lot more competition. So it's really about calibrating your thinking. So for the startups we took over, it's very much an educational experience. Plus we get to go and hang out at Google and Facebook and that sort of stuff as well. So far we go for 18 months, we've had 700 people attend our events in some form. It's over 300 ideas being pitched, and 60 startups have launched on the Gold Coast in the last 18 months, which is pretty amazing. This is our new co-working space, so we literally moved 2 weeks ago. So before this we were in a very tiny space with Bean, we had 12 desks and we filled in like a week or something. Now we've got roughly 100 desks. What I really want to talk about is our accelerator program about to kick off, and there's 2 reasons why you might be interested. One is if you have a startup and you want to apply your startup into the program, but the second thing is we're looking for student interns. So if you just want to come and join a startup that's going through the program and see what they go through, get access to all the same mentoring sessions, the workshops and everything, it's a really awesome way to learn about startups and lean startup methodology. You don't have to have a startup idea to do a startup, you can actually join someone else's idea. So application's literally just opened today. The website, it's called Surf Accelerator, which stands up for Startup Really Fast, also being a pun on the Gold Coast being a surf location. Jump on to startupreallyfast.com.au, everything is on there. It's a 12-week program, commences 1st of September. So between now and then, basically, we're accepting applications, which close on the 17th. Then we'll do some judging, colouring that down. Then we have a 1-day boot camp on the 22nd of August, where we basically get the shortlisted startups in, hammer them with people like Clarence, some local angel investors, talk about how to pitch, talk about blah, 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 business models and whatnot. And on the Sunday, then there's a pitch to a Dragon's Den. So we're going to bring the angels in, and they're going to help us choose the startups that actually go into the program. So we're looking for 6 startups, ideally 2 founders per startup. That's sort of a magic number when you're just at the idea phase. We will accept more. If you're a one-man team, you've really got to be bloody good, because it's really hard to do a startup on your own. And what we give you is 20 grand of free services. So that's a combination of accessing the co-working space, also a lot of legal services. So we have a legal pack, so we get your company set up. Deloitte's on board as a partner. Pod Legal's on board as a partner. Microsoft are giving away free hosting on Azure, so is AWS, Amazon on AWS as well. So there's a heap of free stuff you get. It is focused on tech startups, so as the incubator, we're actually not anymore. We actually have some social enterprises that we've been helping. So we are keen to see social enterprises. We're sort of dropping tech in a way because tech's now part of everything, but at the same time, our core expertise is in software and hardware, so that's really the sort of stuff we're looking for, because that's how we can help the most. Interns wanted, so again, any background, we don't really care. Obviously ICT and business would be prime, but we're looking for programmers, graphic designers, people with social media skills, marketing skills, legal skills, any background at all really, to come in and tag along to a team. So the way it works, if you want to be a student intern during the program, jump on that website, startupreallyfast.com.au, and just apply to be a student. Really, for us, it's all about teaching you guys about lean startup, so that then you can go and do your next idea. But also, we were really passionate about changing career path perceptions. So we want actually going out and launching a business as the prime career path that you actually think about. The program actually runs from the 1st of September, which that week is actually Small Business Week, and ends on the 21st of November, which is actually the International Entrepreneurship Week, so timed really well. It's a 12-week program. There's a local demo day on the 18th of November. So that's a chance for the startups to actually pitch to local investors, VCs, and also some potential partners and clients. And then there's an optional Silicon Valley trip we're doing at the end of it. So a 10-day trip from the 2nd of December. We're actually taking the startups out of the program over. So interns can come along to that as well. You just have to pay your own way. We have a lunch first Tuesday of every month. You can just come into our space at 12:30. We just sit down, whoever's around, we just have a casual lunch. It's a great way to meet people in the startup community and start networking. There's a startup weekend in Brisbane in October, which I'll be facilitating. There's also one in Cairns in 2 weeks if any of you really want to get on a plane and go to one. And the Gold Coast one will be on the 21st to 23rd of November as well. What you'll find once you go to one startup weekend, you'll be addicted. You'll actually travel to them. People travel all over the world to actually attend them. So they are really contagious. Bring a friend, bring anyone you know, and really encourage them. Even if you don't have an idea you want to pitch, attend a startup weekend and just be a fly on the wall. Because the other thing we do is we bring in a ton of mentors. So even if all you did was nothing else and just come to the event and talk to the mentors, you'd get a ton of value out of that. So please, sign up for one of the startup weekends when they come up as well.